Hello, good evening, and welcome to THFC Till I Die, home of Tottenham past, present, and an exciting future under Ange Postecoglou, as we tonight ask the very serious question: Daniel Levy, a visionary leader, or Tottenham's biggest obstacle? Well,
Ooh.
really would help us along the way and help us grow and help us bring you
And
better
Dermo,
content.
also the super chats is it's like, if you want us to take the conversation in a certain direction, put your super chat in and we'll read it out as soon as we see it and answer the question. So it's going to be, we do have a set format we're going to talk about with the Daniel Levy thing. But if any of you guys put in a super chat for us, of course, we'll take the conversation in that direction based on, the question you ask us. So
yeah,
we want your feedback.
And also, look, guys, some of you were members. And look, we can only apologise to you guys that were members before, that lost your memberships. And it wasn't our fault. We still don't know what we did wrong with YouTube. But we're now back monetised again. So the link for the membership is at the top of the chat. Hit that link, pick up your memberships. And once we get enough of you, we will be doing our member shows after every game in post-match live. We're getting you guys on. It's a members-only fan show. After every game, you come on. Doesn't matter if it's nighttime, 3 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. If it's 11 o'clock, we will get you guys on if you're our members. And I said also, a super chat does help, gets you to the top of the list, and it does help us grow. All of this helps us grow to better graphics, better content on our march to 2K. Guys, we really would be grateful. But Tequila, how are you this evening, sir?
Oh, you still there, Dermo?
Right. I said, how are you?
You froze for a second. I didn't hear you.
Oh, okay. How are you?
I'm okay. Obviously recovering from the last game, looking forward to Newcastle, hoping for a different result from the last 2 years. I'm trepidatious because they've done such a number on us the last two.
Yeah.
But to be honest, they're not in. They've got some injuries, so maybe they won't be at full strength. So maybe there's a chance.
And I also forgot to say, we will be doing members-only stuff as well once we get enough members. Me and Tequila was going to start doing some member stuff as well for you guys, which is just for the members. So there'll be a lot of... We're going to try to interact with all of you guys. So please do help. The link's there, and do all hit the like button, hit the subscription button. If you can, it really would help us grow. Look, we are going to talk about Daniel Levy. Now, I think we're going to start tonight, Tequila, with the news that we got dropped. Well, you got dropped about an hour ago.
Yeah.
So we're going to start on this. Now, this doesn't help with my sort of argument that Levy is sort of good at Tottenham. And once I read this out, it made me very angry.
It annoyed you, didn't it, mate? I mean, this is from our source, who's normally got a good track record. And the source is there's no reason for him to be telling us porky, so it's all in good faith. So go ahead, Dermo.
I'll let you read it out.
You want me to read it out?
Okay. Yeah, I'll let you read it out.
Well, now that we're remonetized, so there's no swearing for like the first 10 minutes. I think that's the YouTube rule. So I'll have to lower my aggression as well, Dermo, as I read this. But then again, I'm quite sarcastic more than aggressive.
Yeah.
Right. So, as you guys can read, according to our source, Daniel did pull the plug on the Jimenez deal, so we were in for him. Apparently, he also pulled the plug on the Jonathan David deal. He apparently did not want Ivan Toney and suggested Solanke as an alternative for Ange. Now, Ange obviously said yes to that, so that's Ange's part in it, I suppose. But he, according to our source, Ange would have liked Sancho at the club as well, but he's got too much. We don't when price demands. We
Well,
don't know.
basically, what it
Is that wages or transfer fee? Do you think?
Well, look, basically he said he would like a player that's centre at the club, but he's unwilling at this moment to meet the price demands. I think that's transfer fees and wages, personally. Yeah.
Yeah. So he also thinks that the 15 million for Chiesa is too much, which, okay,
that's mind-boggling in itself.
It is for a player who I know he's had injury problems, but that's why it's a cheaper fee. But still, and he'd only offer around 10 million, typical before sales and outgoings. He's damaged a lot of potential deals that Ange could have made. Regardless of what Ange has come out and said, Solanke was not his first choice striker. I could have told you that, and I did. Got to give myself a little bit of props. I already kind of figured that one out.
Yeah.
It was Tony and then David. So, I mean, Jonathan David sounds like he was higher up than maybe we all thought. That's probably because of his work rate. Because, like I say, he is a smaller striker, but he's got a good work rate. So, chat, how do you feel about that?
I'm very angry over that.
I know Dermo's angry, so I'll open up to the chat as well. How do you guys feel about that?
Yeah.
I'm already on the Levy outside, I suppose. So I guess it does me a favor because I guess it backs up what I think. But Dermo, you're pissed off. I know you are.
Yeah, I am, because there's players that, let's go back to it. Look, I want to welcome a few people in the chat first, and then we'll get into it. Because I'm very rude, and I'm not a rude person. I wasn't brought up to be rude. I was brought up to be polite and well-mannered, and welcome our guests in with open arms. Big up to Milton, all good, mate. Big up Milton. Hope you're doing well, sir. Yeah, we've got Hod God 10 as well. Big up James. Hope you're doing well. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Hod. We've got Chris Peters. Big up, Chris. Good evening, Dermot. Good evening, Chris. How are you doing, sir? Hope you're doing well. We've got the legend, that is Dan Davenport. Hey, Dermot and Tequila. Big up both of you. Big up Danny Boy.
Yeah, mate.
Big up Simply Ace. Hello, everyone.
Big up Simply.
Hello. And then we've got Carl Simpson. Daniel Levy showing once again that the power-hungry owner who cannot help his dirty little hands on football needs the money for that hotel. Do not get me started, please. Do not get me started.
Calm is also angry.
Yeah.
So that's Calm and Dermo both pissed off.
Yeah.
Right, then.
15 million is peanuts. I cannot believe Levy would. I know, oh God. And Carl, hello, by the way. Now, I was on Dave's chat earlier, and I went on there really. I read this, and then suddenly was on Dave's channel, and I was in a pissed off mood.
You showed.
And it's not normally me. And the first thing I said was, I'm fed up. But Dermo, we won 4-0. I'm fed up with our transfer window after reading what I just read. I mean, you got players there, Jonathan David, Ivan Toney. Look, you can't blame Solanke. He's bought to the club. We're going to have to support. He's a Tottenham player. We're back and Of course we will. He's a Spurs player.
Yep.
But you look at the money we've wasted, and we are going to go through each manager under Levy, the manager. There's one thing that cannot be denied. Levy has backed some managers. But has it been more wasted money or wasted on the wrong players? And that's another thing, because we're going to go through the director of footballs as well, aren't we, Tequila, tonight as well?
Yeah. And as I was speaking to Carl earlier, as I was drawing up the list, they keep changing the names: sporting director, director of football, technical director. It's just like choose a lane and stick in it. They got all these different titles, and me and Carl were just like, "Well, they keep changing all the titles. It's hard to make a list when they got so many different titles."
Yeah. Look, big up to Colin as well. Big up, Colin. Hope you're doing well, sir. Great to see you. And Carl says, "Don't get me wrong. I don't want Tony. I didn't want Tony, but Levy should be nowhere near the transfers."
Exactly.
And I thought Ange would have put his foot down. Maybe he hasn't. This does ask the question: is Ange a yes man for Levy? I don't think he is. But
I hope not.
Maybe,
hope not.
But
hope not.
Is he working in a Levy environment where he feels that Levy's got the man that's going to bend over backwards in a way? You know what I mean?
I mean, I'd imagine that there's got to be a little bit of give and take, right? He knows that he can't have it his whole way. But how much give and take there is, I mean, I don't know.
I mean, are we going to get to a point where, I don't know. I'm just so angry over that. I'm fuming. And Milton says, "Oh, howdy, Damo and Tequila. Hope you guys
Milton.
are well. Big up everyone in the chat. Smash the likes and please, peeps, and support this wonderful
Well,
channel."
we've got our monetization back, Milton. So it only took us like 4 months. We do have it.
So yeah, do also please do pick up the memberships. Also, it does help, and believe me, it does help. It helps us so much, and we don't like begging and we don't like asking because we know times are tough out there, and we've had the British Prime Minister painting a very ugly picture for you guys in the UK. We're lucky enough in Ireland. Our economy is not so bad over here. But you guys, you're going to go through a really tough time. So we do get it. But, you know, it does help us. And we've been to the point where we've been struggling so much that the channel nearly closed down, didn't it?
Let's be honest. We'll be transparent, okay? There's fees every month to keep the channel going, and for the last 5 months, we've been bleeding money. It's as simple as that.
I've been bleeding money.
Well, yeah.
I'm bleeding money. I'm broke, guys.
Bless you, Dermo.
I'm broke. Even went to the bank manager and he laughed me out of the bank. Anyway, big up to the Sassy Gooner. David is a Canadian Gooner. Stop. He wants Champions League and Lily T-Toad. All that's true. Is it this idea? Is this in the no reliable? What other info has this source mentioned before or has come to fruition? Harry Kane going to Bayern Munich. Ange Postecoglou coming into Tottenham. What else? He was ahead of the curve on. Well, he was ahead in the curve on a few transfers this summer as well, wasn't he, Tequila?
Yeah, we wouldn't put it out there if we thought that it was.
No, this is the same. This is the same. This is the same source that told me about Harry Kane 5 weeks before he went to Bayern Munich, and we put it out. Me and Mia put it out. And we got laughed at, we got ridiculed, and we got absolute told we were talking bullshit, bollocks, everything. And we were proven right in the end. It's a proper source. A source is I trust with my life. I really do trust this source with my life. Carl says, ironically, we could have got Gimenez, Chiesa, and David for the price of Solanke. I do like Solanke though.
Don't get me started, Carl.
I do know what it's a striker, but it's not the striker I wanted. Hug got 10. He told them about Kane weeks before it happened. He told them about Andrew as well and a few other things, a few other incomers. Yeah, exactly. That putty cat wants to eat that cockerel below.
No.
You leave my cockerel alone. Really reliable. Hug got 10. 1p. LOL. Whatever he means by that.
1p used to get you a penny sweet back in the day, though, mate. Don't get you nothing.
Yeah,
now.
Jonathan David, the best around. So many clutch goes. So so true.
I would have taken him, yeah.
10. We've got Milton. Australia is so bad. The economy rent is through the roof. Petrol is $11 a gallon. Wow. Can't afford to eat healthily. Adds meat and fruit and vegetables. That's shocking, isn't it?
That sucks, Milton. It does. I mean, it is the same. To be honest, it's the same over here in England.
Yeah.
What he's saying is literally the same thing over here. So, yeah.
I know. And we get it's hard. We do get it's hard, guys. And I hate asking, but it's what we've got to do. Meta, what a goal. And then, guys, if you become a member, anything goes. So I'll tell you where we're going to start. Hang on, I'm just reading something. Okay, Grant, thank you. Just got to answer a question from our source. So these are directors of football, guys. David Pleat, Frank Anderson took over in 2004 and left to join Chelsea in 2005. Damien Camoli left in 2008. No director of football on the Redknapp, which was rarely
interesting. Yeah. And that's probably because Redknapp had such a falling out with the chaps from Portsmouth, didn't he? He probably refused to work with them, so they said, okay.
Column, this is a little competition we're running. Do you want to read this out, Tequila?
Get up to 20 members and be entered into a draw to win a signed Spurs shirt.
Wow.
Is that official then, Carl? Well, there you go then. That's even more motivation if you guys needed more.
So please do. Milton says rent is like $1,000 a week for a 2-bedroom unit.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Big up. Well, for a 2-bedroom house over here, it's €2,000 a month. Or 3,200. It is really.
No, like if you live in London, mate, the prices for living in I live about 40 miles north of London, but the housing in London, mate, is you just absolutely insanity.
Right, and then 224 Paul Mitchell came in with Poch, and then Steve Hitchen took over from Paul Mitchell when he left, and then Paratici and Lang.
And obviously Paratici, of course, unfortunately had to withdraw.
Can I just say the biggest idiot on that list is Steve Hitchen? For me,
he bought us the biggest flop in our history. Let's be honest, which was in Ndombele. Can you honestly, Dermo? We won't spend that long on it, but can you remember a player that is bought for 60 million and then just released for nothing?
No.
And take his wages, which he was on, right, for the amount of time he was here. Do you think we wasted 100 million?
Yeah,
if you include his wages as well.
Yeah, we wasted the Bale money. We wasted money on Ndombele, on Tongai. We've wasted a lot of money on players that were no good. And if you take your time, you could build a championship winning squad for the less the money that we've spent on players. And to get one League Cup out of 22 years under Levy's leadership is outright disgraceful.
It's not a good ratio, is it? Let's be honest.
It's not. And you can say, you can put, oh, we had the pandemic or we had unlucky. You could say we're in finals. We've got the Champions League final. We'll finish second or third in the league. We'll go through that later. Either for a kick here or a kick there, we're going to have been quite successful under Levy. But at the end of the day, it proves a point that Daniel Levy either cares about himself or just cares about the financial side of Tottenham. The football side doesn't exist in his narrative. Now, I'm not a Levy outer. I'm Tottenham Hotspur fan. I couldn't care less if you want to go and protest outside the club. It doesn't bother me. I find if I'm unhappy, he's coming onto my YouTube channel and speaking on the YouTube channel how I feel, but doing it respectfully.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go out there and stand outside the stadium and protest. What's that going to prove? It's going to prove nothing because A, you're not getting the numbers to help you, and B, it may get you a bit of traction. But if that's the case, why isn't the Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust helping? Why are they not getting involved behind this? They're supposed to be our voice. They're supposed to be the voice of the fans. So why aren't they getting behind any protests on how our club is run?
But that's why they're regarded as so much of a joke, Dermo. Like all they do is they send an email or they'll send a letter, and that it's like, okay, what's that going to do? And she sent a letter. Okay, Daniel Levy probably looks at it, have a laugh, and then throws it in the shredder. Well, he doesn't. His secretary hasn't. He doesn't even read it. His secretary probably reads it and then throws it in the shredder.
Look, you look at the Glazers. You look at United, how they protested against the Glazers.
Yeah.
Now, I don't condone everything they've done. Getting a match postponed was not the right thing to do, and that was wrong.
Didn't they go into the training grounds as well?
Yeah, that is wrong.
Yeah,
that shouldn't happen. But you look at Liverpool. You go back to the Super League, right? How many fans got together at Chelsea or Arsenal or Liverpool to protest against the Super League? Right? You look at Tottenham. Yeah. They showed 4 people dancing around in the rain with their shoes in the air and Tottenham bags in their hands.
Yeah. It's not good look.
I mean, no, I know there was a lot of protests and a lot of them didn't get put on air. I get that. And a lot of good people did protest about it. And I'm not saying they didn't, but they did. But you need a united front. You can't keep protesting against something that you need a united front against. And you look at United, they do it as a United front, Tequila.
We are.
And to be fair to them, sorry, just one more thing, and then I'll let you in.
Go on. Yep.
At least they have the balls to go and set up their own football club, an anti-Manchester United football club.
Look what the Wimbledon fans did when MK Dons moved their team from, the Wimbledon with the old Dennis Wise and all that. I forget what they were called in like the 80s. They went and moved to Milton Keynes, and the supporters ended up, making their own club. And granted, their club is only in, I think, Division 2, but still, it's fans can make a difference. But I understand fans, they can, but when you're dealing with such a powerful, not man, because it's not about the man, but such a powerful entity in ENIC. The bottom line is that fans can protest all they want. ENIC ain't going to sell unless they get the numbers they want, and they're not going to get 5. They're not going to get that money. They've overpriced it. They're not going to get that money. If you think about how much other clubs have gone for, like Chelsea, they're not going to get that money. I know we've got the stadium, and I know a lot of the reason they're asking it is a lot to do with the stadium. But even so, you're not going to get like the 7 billion or so Levy wants. So he's literally pricing everybody out. So even if the fans do make a ruckus and stuff like that, the bottom line's still going to be who's going to pay what ENIC want, and the answer is most likely nobody, because they're valuing it too high.
Yeah, and where does that leave our club? Look, we could go all night ranting against Levy, right? And
Crazy gang, that's right. Thank you, Carl. Yeah. Crazy gang, yeah.
But for a balanced argument, I can remember when we nearly went out of existence. For a balanced argument, right? So I know what it's like to support a club and be around the club that nearly went to the wall. That nearly went. There was no Tottenham Hotspur. We would not be on here now talking about the club we love.
Yeah.
And I know you weren't around then, Tequila, or you were very young, so you wouldn't remember. I do.
Yeah. And that's fair enough. And that probably is a divide that is hard to do much about, isn't it? Because we weren't. Yeah. We just didn't. A lot of us just didn't see it, Dermo.
But a lot of people seem to forget this. Seem to forget where we came from. Our foundations were broken at Tottenham. We're 8 million back in the late 80s, early 90s isn't a lot of money in these days, but it was a lot of money.
No, it was then. Yeah, I know. Yeah, definitely.
And for Midland Bank to come over and say, right, we want this money, they had to sell Paul Gascoigne to keep the bank happy.
To fund it, yeah.
What's he going to do? Twist his knee. So then you got all this again. Is Tottenham going out? For weeks afterwards, Sky News, which was Tottenham Hotspur, Maxwell came in to buy Tottenham at the time and was turned down. And I will give Alan Sugar and I'll give Terry Venables the biggest compliment I can give them. They saved our football club. Whatever you think about Alan Sugar, whatever anyone thinks of what he was as a chairman, for what he was as an owner, for what you think of him as a person, he saved our football club. He kept the name Tottenham Hotspur where it is. And Terry Venables, by hook or by crook, and I forget the bad things Terry Venables done. For me, Terry Venables is a legend and he's a Tottenham legend. He saved our club as well. And we seem to forget that. We seem to forget where we were. And we also seem to forget Levy and ENIC bought shares within that of saving Tottenham Hotspur. And then for the next...
Get the foot in the door.
Yeah, and then for the next 10 years, they bought shares and bought shares and bought shares. Then in 2000, they went to buy Tottenham once before, and Liz Sugar said, no, I'm not selling to you. And because we turned on Sugar, he said, fuck this, I'm going to sell to ENIC and leave.
Yeah, he got fed up, didn't he?
He got fed up. And then it's so frustrating that we are such a big club and we've got a big name and we're so successful in what we want that we haven't won anything for so long. And who do you put the blame to? Who do you blame?
There's multiple pieces of the pie. Levy and Enoch have to play a role. The managers themselves and their individual decisions have to play a role. The players and their individual decisions on the pitch have to play a role. There's a little bit of just bad timing because you've got to remember that we are in the. I don't like it really, Demo, but Blackburn were the first to do it. Then it was Chelsea and then City. We're in this period of time where there's always some kind of big kind of powerful spender, which kind of like dominates. And we're in the Man City era. Before that, it was the Chelsea era. You could say before that, it was the United era. I know that Arsenal won a league or two, but generally it was Man United's time. And even though they went about it slightly differently than Chelsea and City, like Man United generated a lot of their money themselves, whereas with Chelsea and City, they are spending monies that they should never have. And we find ourselves, unfortunately, right in the middle of it. And that's contributed. Because you've got to remember, look at Liverpool, right? Liverpool generally run their club the right way, similar to the Spurs do, right?
Yeah.
And even the great Liverpool have only actually won one league. Now, they've done very well in Europe. They've probably overachieved in Europe, right? Winning 2 Champions Leagues.
They won competitions in England. They've won European competitions.
Yeah.
They sold one player and bought 2 or 3 players out of that. Funded their championship charge.
So Liverpool has shown that even with a good transfer policy, it's still incredibly difficult to overthrow the juggernauts that was Chelsea and now Man City. It's incredibly difficult. They've only managed to do it domestically once. Now, of course, they've managed to win nearly a cup every year, right? That helps that they've been able to win one of the domestic cups. And that's where I think the Spurs have lacked. I don't think, because we haven't won the league title, I think most people will understand why it's probably very unlikely and very difficult because of the juggernauts, the spending juggernauts we're up against. I think the problem is that we just haven't managed to bag any of the other cups, which other clubs have proven that you can do. We haven't managed to bag any, and every year adds more and more pressure, and it's like a powder keg, and our patience with managers, as I fear for Ange this year, gets less and less, because each time that we restart, our patience gets less and less. Do you understand what I mean? So it's like we're at the point now where managers are lucky to survive a season. We had that stat that we've always talked about, that Ange was the first manager in many years to survive a full season, which is ridiculous.
It is. And look, it got Jibe here. Big up, Jibe. Welcome to the channel. Do like and subscribe, mate. He says, biggest obstacle is those Levy lovers and happy clappers would soon learn their lessons mid-season, how like we are when we've been where we've left with Burfield, Gray and Sarr and playing midfield. Look, just because I'm not a Levy outer and I don't shout from the rooftops, Levy out and Levy's this and Levy's that and Levy's a pain in my backside. And I'm will criticize Levy when he does bad, then praise him when he does good. Doesn't make me any less of a fan than you are. Doesn't make me any less of a fan than Tequila. I think buying the likes of Bergfield, Gray, Sarr, and I don't think we are going to be left light. I think we could have done with a left back to cover on the left side of midfield. I think we need a winger as well, and we need a number 6 or a number 10. But just because I'm not shouting off the rooftops doesn't make me a Levy lover. And I find that very not fair on people that have different opinions. We're allowed to have our own opinions on this. We're allowed to support the club how we want to support the club. If you want to be a Levy out and support the club, then fair play to you. You're a Tottenham fan and I respect you for it. If I want to support the club in a different way, I would hope that you would respect me for that. I'm not happy. Of course I'm not happy because I want my club to succeed. Yeah, go on.
Sorry, what's the gentleman's name? GD, is it? Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. I understand where he's coming from because he's very frustrated. This Levy in and out stuff, we use it as terminology because we can't think of anything better. But like most things in life, it's different shades. It's not, things are never black and white. It's not. There's different shades. Now, I said I'm Levy out because that's the easiest way to describe my vantage point. But, you know, there's many different levels. Am I an extremist where I will go and do certain things? No. But I look at it and I try to use logic. So you could put me maybe on the one side. I mean, how far do you want to go? It's like a sliding scale. And Dermo, I would not class as, he's not a Levy. He's far from a Levy lover. And he's far from a happy clapper. Is he an optimistic fan who tries to be optimistic? Yes. That doesn't mean he's a Levy lover, because I've had plenty of conversations with him, both on air and privately, that he's far from it. Is he as Levy out as me, if that's the terminology you want to use? No, he's not.
Probably not. No,
you're not. But he's far from. Yeah, he's far from it. He's far from it. And you know, but I understand where this gentleman is coming from, because
I do understand where he's coming from, and I understand the frustration. But I think we've all got to support each other in this. We've all got to be one.
We do, and as you're saying for Bergvall and Gray, I understand, mate. I understand they're players for probably tomorrow, probably not for this season. I agree. And whilst I have no problem with our club buying these players, because you do need these players in your squad, the future does need to be here. But there's also dealing with today as well. And as I've said to Dermo before, if I'm Ange Postecoglou, I'm seeing all these young players. But then I'm thinking to myself, well, if these players are going to come good in 3 years, I probably ain't going to be here in 3 years. Because if even Dermo's admitted to me, and Dermo's been a bit harsher than me, if he finishes 6th and doesn't win a trophy, then it doesn't matter how good these players are going to be next year for him, does it? He's going to be out.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, I don't know where to begin with this. I don't know where to begin with that post either, because what we got given, because if we're turning down players of that quality and that quantity, what does that say about the trust they have in Ange? What does that say in the trust that they have in the players they want to buy? It doesn't show much trust, does it?
Not really. And I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed, but not surprised that Levy is still so hands-on, because I thought, Dermo, the idea was the hiring Paratici, who I realise isn't officially there. But then this Lange bloke, I thought the idea, and this is what I've said to you many times when we discuss Levy and about delegation. But I've also said to you, Dermo, that Levy can't help himself. That documentary, how much of that documentary was staged? You know what? I don't know. But that documentary, when I saw him hanging around the players trying to be their mates, I thought to myself, what? That's not what you're meant to be doing. You're not the manager. Let Jose Mourinho deal with that. Go away. Leave him alone. You know what I mean? That's what I was saying.
Leave him alone. His job.
Leave him alone. And then the part where Danny Rose, and I'll never forget this part, the part where Danny Rose, and guys, we're talking about the, what was it called, Dermo? The prime?
All or Nothing.
All or Nothing. The part where Danny Rose goes into Jose Mourinho, and they're having a back and forth about Danny Rose not playing. And he goes, I'll go talk to Daniel. They're on first name basis, Dermo. Not I'll go talk to Misty Levy. I'll go talk to Daniel, my mate. What?
Yeah. It's got to a point now where I'm getting to the point where I'm really frustrated with this window. And this window has been a big disappointment to me, because don't get me wrong, the outgoings have been fantastic, and we've got a lot of the deadwood out. And we really have. So I mean, if you're going to have a go at Levy, for one, you've got to praise him for the outgoings. And I think you've got to balance that. I think you've got to have the balanced argument of, okay, I'm going to criticize him on one side, but okay, I've got to give him credit for the other. And there's a lot of things you can give him credit for.
We don't know. Let's assume that it was Lange who did it. So you give credit to Levy for signing Lange, who obviously is good at getting rid of players, I suppose is the right terminology to use.
Yeah.
He's proven that if it is Lange, and I assume, because that's meant to be what his job is, that he's been And maybe there've been arguments that was Paratiti's biggest failing, was that his incomings were quite good, but we could never shift anyone.
No.
So maybe Lange is like, well, he's not very good. Can we blend them both and merge them? Lange is not very good at maybe getting the players in, or at least he hasn't been this season, but he's been very effective at shifting players out, and maybe that's fair.
Yeah, maybe so. But look, we're so behind in the chat. Let's go through the chat, and then we'll go. Hogon says Levy needs to stick to the commercial side of the business. Let Ange and the recruitment team deal with the end of that. Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely, exactly. Carl Simpson, Hitchin, please don't take it personally. They like you rarely. On this CV, he's going to say, I bought Grealish to the club and Daniel didn't want him. Steve, I got my rant about Hitchin coming in, and he's got away scot-free in my view. They have their phones on airplane mode. Yep, they do. Crazy gang tequila. I think Levy will stay. I think it's Joe Lewis shared that will be so. Yeah, there's something about Stavely coming in, and I want to get your thoughts on that later, guys, as well. Big up to Boris as well. Evening, guys. Hope you're both doing well. Just quickly, just let everyone know there's 19 or 20 of you already in the house already. So just let people know what they can do, Carl. Tequila.
Well, in case anyone's just joined us, we have got a channel remonetized after fighting YouTube for the last 4 or 5 months. So memberships are back and super chats are back. If you want to send us a question or do you want to guide the conversation, then put it in a super chat and we'll discuss it. Me and Demo will discuss it properly. Whatever it is, there's no Levy in, Levy out, Levy all about. Whatever you want to do, we'll discuss it. So yeah, grab your memberships and stuff like that. So we're back, baby. I suppose we're back.
Do you want to go through the chat here for a minute there?
Where are you up to, bruv? Where are you up to? Liston Hines. 1 sec, mate.
The one on the screen there.
Okay. Listen, big up, mate. I don't think I've ever come across a so-called Levy lover. Well, his wife might disagree. My experience is that even the most positive fans I've seen aren't very fond of Levy at all. It's all terminologies, Liston. The Levy out, Levy in terminology is what we're called now. Do I agree with it? Not really, but I don't know what else you want to call it. It's just terminology, mate. I don't know what a Levy lover is. I guess a Levy lover is meant to be somebody who thinks he's a good chairman, I suppose, overall. Yeah. Who thinks the football side is being run well, I suppose.
Yeah. It is. Sorry. I've got a bit of news here about this. So very quickly, there was a question asked to Ange, and it was a question that was it was asked today, and it's on Sky Sports, the hashtag Tottenham versus Newcastle. The question to Ange was, with the news that more signings are unlikely, would you say Spurs have achieved that this summer? His answer, I've got to change this squad. I have to. That just tells you everything in one word. Ange's not happy.
Well, maybe he's realizing, and I called him out for it at the time because I thought it was a silly thing to say. A lot of people have told me, oh, what else was he meant to say? Well, I can think of other things he's meant to say. You don't commit either way. You kind of deflect the question a little bit. That's what you do, in my opinion. But because he said what he said about challenging for the league, and I'm sorry, I thought to myself, mate, don't say that. I thought it was a massive blunder. He didn't say
challenging for the league. He wants to be challenging. He wants to be in the place that we're in the top 6 in a title fight.
Well, I don't.
He never said I'm going to challenge for the league. I think a lot of what he said was slightly misquoted by some. He said I want to be challenging.
Fine, that's fine. But I would say, okay, so that's left to interpretation. So, but when I hear that, I picture top 3. Maybe I picture top 3 challenging. Yeah. I picture top 3 kind of thing. That's how I've read it. And you're right, Damo. Fair enough. People might read it differently.
Yeah, he has a right to say that, and he has a right to want that.
Well, the thing is that maybe he really believed that's what he was going to get. When he said it, maybe Daniel has said to him, "Yeah, mate, we're going to be spending 300 million," and he thought, and you know what? If I would have said something similar. If I thought I was getting 300 million, free reign 300 million to buy the players that I wanted, maybe I would have been like, well, yeah, then I probably can build us a good team.
They have spent 300 million.
Yeah, but so much of it is not for the first team right now.
I know.
It's probably for next year or the year after.
I know.
The only first team player we've really bought is Solanke. So you can say that the other 240 million or whatever has been spent on potential, which is fine. But I don't think Ange probably meant that. I think Ange probably thought to himself, oh, okay, because now it's like, well, it's like if you asked him now, he'll probably say like, yeah, in a couple of years we'll be challenging.
No, Ange doesn't work like that. And I know I've seen enough of Ange to know what he means, and I've seen enough of Ange at Celtic to know what he means. And what's frustrating me about this window is we haven't backed him. He wanted a striker. Yeah, we could have got Ivan Toney. We could have got Jonathan David. Who did we get? Solanke, who, okay, had one good season last season. And I hope he does well at Tottenham. I really do. I hope he does well at Tottenham. I hope he bags in 25 goals this season. But we could have gone for so much better. And who's that? Who's the fault with that? It's the transfer team, and it's Levy and the transfer team. They give Ange an option. It's like going into Tesco and saying, right, I want you to buy. You could either have a top of the range, I don't know, pack of apples, right? Lovely Granny Smiths, right? Worth $3.99. But I really want you to have the Tesco brand at 99¢. But you're going to have to take the 99¢.
Well, that's the thing. So Levy says to him, okay, well, how about Solanke? And if Ange turns around and says no, does Levy then say, well, then you get nothing? Or does Levy then say, well, what should happen if Ange didn't want him really? What should have happened? And then Levy says, okay, then we'll go back and I suppose start again, even though the clock is always ticking in a transfer window. But that's probably what should have happened. If he didn't want Solanke, really, then Levy should have said, okay, we'll try and find someone else.
He's here now, and we're supporting. And he's a Tottenham player, and we're backing him all the way. And
it's true. The problem is, though, Dermo, is you know just as well as I do that if Solanke doesn't perform for Ange, it won't be Solanke who gets fired.
I know. And this is where we had it before with Eric Dyer, Davis, all these players. Look, we can go on and on. I've got a few bits of breaking news to bring you guys. So I want to bring you these. It's been stacking up, so we'll get for you. It's about what Boris is saying. Reguilon could be on his way to Galatasaray. That's the latest I'm hearing on him.
Okay.
Celtic player Jota is joining Rennes on loan from Isla. I would have loved Jota at Tottenham, by the way.
Let me ask Dermo.
Hang on, just two more. Sorry, Tequila. Sorry.
Go on then.
Lo Celso has reportedly held talks with former club Real Betis over a return, and a club insider, Paul O'Keefe, who says that it appears a new midfielder is unlikely to be added to the North London outfit before the window slams shut.
What we're going to say is Jota's going to Rennes. I would be honest. I know that you've backed him. Wouldn't you prefer Jota to be starting than Brendan Johnson?
Yeah. Tequila, I've had enough of Johnson.
I also think that I'd rather Jota than Timo Werner as well.
Yeah. So, if Ange had any, I mean, there's another thing. You spend 50 million on a youngster that can't perform. Who sanctions these deals?
It's these club signings. It's this club signing bullshit.
Yeah, it's not club signings, whatever. But who sanctions the deals? There's one man that says yes or no to these deals, and it's the man at the top.
Yeah, but this is where I'm skeptical of Ange, because I understand why he doesn't want to kind of destroy his own job. But he's coming on his press conference and he's saying, I'm getting last say on it. So that's where people are accusing him of being a yes man, because it's like, well, if you're against these signings, then you've got to come out and say it. But it's going to be self-sabotage if he does.
Yeah, but he's come in with the agreement. You train who we give you, basically. And football's not like it was years ago, Tequila. Football's changed. There's a great documentary on Sky at the moment about management, and I would recommend everyone to go and watch it. It's a great documentary. And clubs buy players they buy club players for managers to turn into better players. That is what management out is these days. It's not a case of yes, you're a man or a no man. The club will buy players for that manager. Right, you buy these. I'm going to buy you these players. You make them into a winning team. But there should be some give and take, Tequila. They can't keep having the same old argument again and again and again. And it's getting really boring because, in a way, it's getting really, really boring. It's because I've had enough of this mediocrity. I've had enough of this BS. I've had enough of this, of the way that we're okay with top four. We have a manager that says we should dare to dream. We have a manager that would take us to the top. We have a manager that was successful everywhere he's gone. We have Mourinho, who won a trophy at every club he's been at. We had a manager who was successful. Conte was only here for Conte, so I'll sort of take him out the conversation. But we've had managers that have been successful. And what did we do? We didn't back the managers. We didn't get the managers the players they want. Instead of getting Kim Jae, who plays for Bayern Munich, we get Jack Clark. Does this man see anything? Anything?
Yeah.
What does he see? Just dollar signs, or does he see?
Well, this is it. This is it, Dermo. Right. Right. We had a joke the other day where I keep using logic, and I'm Mr. Spock and you're Kirk. Right. A little joke that we had, and I'll use logic. Right. Simple logic. All these different director of footballs that we've just shown you, all these different managers, which you're probably going to put up in a minute. What is the common denominator that has not changed or moved? Daniel Levy. You can only do the same thing so many times before you need to kind of start asking different questions. All the managers, all the players, all the director of footballs, technical directors, whatever, different scouts, all that stuff. Yet the common denominator is Daniel Levy.
I mean,
so this is why he's had. Don't you think a quarter of a century is a long enough chance? Is my.
Well, he's not going to move until somebody pays him the money he wants.
That's it. That's the harsh truth. That is the harsh truth. Yes, it doesn't stop me.
We can do.
No, there isn't. There isn't, and I think maybe that's why some people do kind of not stick their head in the sands, because that's not kind of what I mean. But they do kind of come to that realization that I am aware of as well. That it's kind of like, well, you can't do anything about it, so you might as well try and enjoy it. And that's what I think some people kind of come to in the end, is because you can only batter your head against a brick wall enough times before you get a headache. I
only get to 1 or 2 games a season coming from Ireland, right? So I'm going to enjoy my day out at Spurs when I go over.
Yes.
And if I want to buy something in the club shop, I damn well will buy something in the club shop. If I want to buy a program, I'm going to damn well buy a program. I'm not going to have somebody saying to me, you cannot do this and you cannot do that. I'm going to do what I want to do. But when I come onto my Tottenham channel and I'm not happy, I'm going to say I'm not happy.
Well, of course, dude. No, I wouldn't expect anything less, bruv.
But if I only get to 1 or 2 games a season, I want to enjoy my day out with Spurs. It's like I can't go to every game because I live in Ireland, and if I could go to every game, it'd turn out to be damn well expensive. But I want to go and enjoy. How many managers have we been through in 22 years? How long have they last? I mean, 1 trophy in 22 years is unacceptable. It really is unacceptable.
Yeah, it's with the exception of a couple of clubs who are maybe of a similar stature, are like an Everton and maybe in Newcastle, maybe. It's one of the biggest dry spells for a club of our size. There's not many clubs of our size that have gone so long. Like I said, I've given you 2 examples, maybe. Of
Newcastle,
Everton.
probably longer.
Everton and Newcastle are the 2 that come to mind of big clubs, especially in the area. Newcastle's a massive club, especially in that. It's a 1 city club, don't I?
Yeah,
so,
it is.
It's massive up there. So, yeah, you could say they're long overdue, and I'd say that Everton considering how big they were, especially in like the 80s and everything, they've probably fallen from grace alongside us as well. I don't like saying it, but I call it as I see it, and I think those are the big three which are probably long overdue for a trophy considering their size.
Simply as I said, there is a reason why lots of managers have rejected Spurs. The reason is Daniel Levy, correct? Micah Zappa, big up Micah Zappa, bigger sub-school, low balls, good players, has his pants pulled for average players, not interested in winning stuff at all, only interested in money coming in. Just a Ponzi scheme for clappers.
Ponzi scheme, yeah.
I don't understand what that means, but maybe because I'm old.
That's fine. It just means like, just think of it as just a con, Dermo. Just think of it as somebody conning you.
If we're not replacing Skip or Højbjerg, my argument is, why the hell did you get rid of one and make us weaker? I know.
No answer for you, Carl. I haven't got an answer for you, mate.
I didn't want Højbjerg to go. And all the people that, Højbjerg needs to go, Højbjerg, we could do with them now. I hope Levy isn't leaving it all about the dirty dog. Simply as in 2018, 2019, we had a better chance of winning the Champions League final if we did not sell Dembele, but Daniel Levy had to make some dough. Yeah. Simply Ace, and we've got someone like Zaha in. I know, don't get me going on this. I still think there will be two in at centre midfield. I'm telling you now, Carl, if we get two people in, I will be dumbstruck.
So will I.
Can't see us finishing higher than fifth at best. We don't have enough depth. We have unproven 18-year-olds, and that costs about £80 million.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to hang on.
Well, simply, I put this at 6, and I still think that's the most likely situation. I've not seen anything to make me think anymore.
I'm the more I'm getting from my source about Daniel Levy, and I'm waiting to see can we use it or not, the more I'm getting angrier. I swear to God. The more I'm just getting angry. Liston says, did you see the clip of Sven Goran in the documentary? Did you see the clip of Sven Goran in the documentary?
I've heard of it, yeah. I've heard of
it. Just came out. Sven tells the story of the meeting he had with Abramovich, where he advised him to buy Chelsea instead of Spurs. And yeah.
Thanks, Sven.
And may rest in peace as well, by the way.
Indeed.
What a way. I mean, can I just say very quickly, change the subject. He did go out with some dignity, to be fair to him.
I thought he was very brave with that statement he put out.
Yeah, I did. So. I'm just waiting for if I can use this or not. But I'm just waiting for it to confirmed. And if it's confirmed, I'm done. I am then done. I'm officially done.
See, I haven't seen this. I must be missing something.
I think Levy doesn't want us to go any further than fourth. It's Champions League to appease the fans. If we get third, there would be more pressure on Levy to push. And that is the problem. It's just fourth. That's it. We are the fourth.
Yeah, it's because
go on.
It's because the prize money for getting first is not significant enough for him to invest the money required to get there. So the Champions League is the golden goose, and that's all that matters for the financials.
Yeah, but I just don't know. I'm really fed up. I am
he's not a football man. He never was. He's not a football man. He's a businessman. He's not a football guy.
I can understand everyone being anti-Levy. I get it. And I've always have get it. I've always have got it. But the more that bit what I read tonight, what I'm reading now, and I'm waiting for it to get confirmed if it's correct or factual. I'm seething. But I don't want to become a channel where we're like a massive. I don't want to become like these other channels, and that's the problem, Tequila. I want to stay down this middle road where I am, where criticize if he does bad and praise when he does good.
Well, you can, bruv, you can. I mean, just because you and me feel that way, Philip's on the channel, Boris is on the channel, and they might still be okay with it. So it doesn't.
I don't think they are. We can't speak for them because
no, you can't speak for them. We'll see what they feel next time they're on.
But I'm with the point I'm making. I don't want to go down the road of ranting. I don't, because I love my club too much, and I've seen enough of my club, and it's no good for my mental health, and it's no good for my own health either.
Right? Yeah. So this part is different. Yeah. If it is affecting your mental health, that is where you do need to step in, bruv, because you can't.
Yeah.
You need to somehow, easier said than done, but you need to somehow not block it out. That's the wrong word to use, but
I've always gone down the road of in the middle, and I'm going to stick to that. I'm not going to judge from that. I'm not going to make this channel like we've always been on this channel in the middle. Criticize when we need to, praise when we have to, and there's a lot to praise for. There's also a lot to criticize. But what's got me more is that we had such an opportunity this window to take a leap against the teams ahead of us, and we haven't taken this. We haven't taken this chance. We had a chance and we didn't take it. And for whatever reason, we just didn't take it. And it's so frustrating because we can be so much more than what we are.
But talking about the balance of the channel and the show, you can only react, just like we can only beat what's in front of us, right? When we smashed Everton, right? You can only react to what it is. So the positive was we just had a good game. Yes, the opposition was shit. Let's be honest. It was terrible, but we played well. That's the good part. The bad part is the transfer window, to a lot of us, has been underwhelming. And we shouldn't shy away from that. That should be there to be criticized.
The incomings have been underwhelming. The outgoings have been good, by the way.
And that's a good thing. So you can praise the outgoings, but they haven't got to be one and the same. You're allowed to praise one thing and criticize the other, Dermo. It hasn't got to be all or nothing.
And there you go, promoting the documentary. Giving that a plug. Oh, that was the name of the documentary, All or Nothing.
All or Nothing, yeah.
That's right. I'm going to use this. He says you can, but again, I'm waiting to find out if it's correct. Now, we don't know if this is true or not. No, I'll wait to get confirmation. I'm not going to do that.
Oh, I've seen. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if that's, I'm not shocked to read that, Dermo, but I wouldn't be because I that doesn't shock me.
Yeah. The thing is, Jota's only had 23 appearances during the Saudi season, and he's well, you go to Saudi, you're not a footballer. You go to Saudi, you're just a greedy little money grabber. To be fair, and that's how I feel about it. There will be 2 players come in once Reggie and Lesursa goes, a left centre back and a left back and a winger. Look, Carl, if that is true, I would then call this a great window. At the moment, it's a mid. I would go from a shit window to a good window. And if we get a winger, I'll go from a good window to a great window. Because at the moment, I'm giving this window for incomings 4 out of 10. 8 out of 10 for outgoings, 4 out of 10 for incomings.
I'll probably give it a 3. Because I didn't even really want the striker.
Yeah, well, look, it's done. Forget the striker.
I know.
We can't do nothing about it now.
I know.
David and Tony are not going to take any team any further where they were. The quality of players that we need, I don't think they are available. Take Chelsea, they have bought everything that moved. Well, look, this is another thing. How the hell are Chelsea allowed to do what they're doing? They're supposed to be in financial shit. And we're supposed to look, this is a question to you, Colin, Tequila, right? We can spend anything up to 400 million against our FFP, right? So we've got a big leeway to spend.
Yep.
Chelsea, Aston Villa, Newcastle, Arsenal, all these other teams were financially tight on FFP. How the God names earth have they gone out and bought players? And we're struggling to buy players, and they've bought like there's no tomorrow.
I haven't really got the answer. Obviously, there's some kind of wiggle room there, Dermo, unless they are so arrogant, which also wouldn't be impossible, that they think that they're going to get away with it. You'd like to think with all the point deductions of last year that clubs have realised that unless they're Man City, of course, you're probably not going to get away with it. So I can't give you that answer regarding how they are managing to do it. The answer for why Spurs don't.
I'm getting fed up. I'm getting fed up with this.
I can't again. It's the easy answer is Daniel Levy because he's the only constant. He's the only constant. And I think that I said to you earlier before we came on that Daniel Levy apparently has reduced the wage bill by 32 million.
Yeah.
So we have spent money on players, but he's gotten a lot of the large earners out, and a lot of the kids he's buying are obviously because of they're young and not going to be on the superstar wages. Now, in 2 or 3 years, if they become superstars, then they will start asking for superstar wages.
Yeah.
But right now they're not. And Levy thinks with dollar signs first. And I'm not angry at him because he's just being who he is. That is a businessman.
But he has brought in some generally brilliant young players. Bergville. He has brought in Odegaard.
I think Bergville. I would put Bergville a different. I actually think he's a different type of signing to Archie Gray. Right. So we were talking about this. We keep talking about the Brighton model. Archie Gray isn't a Brighton model. The kid from Burnley isn't a Brighton. They're not. These are quite well known young players with potential. Bergville, which we got for 10 million. Is the kind of Brighton signing where they pluck them out of almost nowhere. They pay a small fee or a relatively small fee and then sell them for massive. Archie Gray, right? That's not a small fee.
Yeah.
And the kid, Odegaard, also isn't a small fee. So when people say the Brighton model, those two aren't Brighton models. Bergville's a Brighton model player, not those two.
So look, I think if you want to balance out this argument, and I think if you do want to balance it out, a lot of these players we were looking at before Ange came anyway to the club. Johnson we were looking at before Ange came to Tottenham. A lot of these players were in the pipeline to come to the club before Ange come anyway. So a lot of these are club signings. A lot of these are right, Ange, we bought you these players, you work with them. So
yes.
In that way, I think I'm excited about the future because of the talent we've got at the club, the squad that we're gathering under Ange. And Ange will get this squad going. So I suppose if you want to balance out the argument on this, on the footballing side, I think we're going to be very excited to watch in the next couple of seasons. But we need experienced players in there. And what's 20 million for Locatelli? What's 15 million for Kikete? Nothing. In the great scheme of things, that's chicken feed. That's cheap.
You know as well as I do, Dermo, you need a combination of experienced heads and young kids. We haven't balanced, in my opinion, we haven't balanced it out.
No, we haven't.
The balance isn't right. So why isn't the balance right? Well, it's down to obviously our transfers, incomings. So
you can't blame everything on Levy. You can blame it on Jonathan Lang. You can blame. I think since Paratici left or got suspended, we have, as a transfer unit, slowed down. I feel we're missing Paratici. And I think Levy's missing Paratici because when Paratici was there, Paratici did all of the business, did all of the transfers. Levy didn't do anything. Now Paratici isn't there. Jonathan Lang has come in. It's, oh, yes, Mr. Levy. No, Mr. Levy. 3 bags full, Mr. Levy. Paritici's come in. It's my job. It's my department. I run it the way I want to run it. And if you've noticed the difference, if you've noticed that the quality of players we were bringing in under Paratici and the quality of players we're bringing in now on the Lang, there is a massive difference. Look at the players Paratici brought in last summer. Vicario, Mickey Van de Ven, Destiny. Look at all these players. Porro. At the time, people were saying, why we're buying these youngsters? Why we're buying this? Why we're buying Vicario? Why we're buying Mickey Van de Ven? We have probably the best back five in the Premier League, to be fair. And that was because of Paratici. Paratici isn't there because he's suspended because he was caught cooking the books. And if you get caught, then you're suspended. You have to take, you do the crime, you do the time. But isn't there a big coincidence that since he's now can't do much what he can do, Lang's in there and Levy's now sticking his Ori head in, that our transfers haven't been that great. I'm not trying to start a conspiracy theory, but is there something to that?
Without knowing exactly how the transfer policy works there, it's a difficult one. Based upon the information we got from our source, that suggests that Levy is still very hands-on, and maybe you're right that when Paratici was there, that Levy was much more in the background.
Because he had a man that knew what he was doing.
Yeah, maybe he had more faith in him, or maybe Paratici was just a stronger character. He said, Mr. Levy, leave me alone, let me do my thing. Go and you deal with the business stuff and leave this stuff to me. Maybe Lange is much more of a, okay, Mr. Levy, I'll listen to you. That could be true. The truth is, Dermot, we'll never really know. Really. Our policy has gone back to youth players. Like Van der Ven is a young player, but I wouldn't call him a youth player, right? Vicario was 27, right? 27 is young for a keeper, but he's not a young player, right? Ndoghi I'd probably class as a young player.
Yeah.
But this was a player who was already playing in Serie A, right? He was already playing in Serie A for Udinese and doing quite well already when we signed him. So the youth this year is a little bit different. I mean, you can say that Odobert did play in the Premiership for Burnley and did okay last year.
I thought he did brilliant on his debut, by the way. He done what Johnson should be doing, to be fair.
Yes, I think he made Johnson look even. He's not doing Johnson any favours. Let's put it that way. No, he's making him look even worse.
Can I apologise for any noise in the background? My missus is fast asleep, and
I'll let her sleep there, mate.
She's snoring her head off, and we've lost a subscriber as well. So my night's just got even better.
Not sure why. I don't know. Is it because we were slacking? I don't know. I thought we'd been pretty fair, to be honest, but there we are.
Yeah. It says Dermot Hogod tends Dermot. You control the narrative, so we don't have to go down the Levy out route to ruin the show. You have a balanced view, and it's why I love your chat. Well, thank you so much. It means a hell of a lot to me when people say that. I do have a balanced view. I just get frustrated like the rest of us. We all want our club to do well. We all want our club to win. We all want our club to win a trophy. But I am not going to go down the route of... I'm not going to go down that route because I just won't. I won't let myself go down that route. I always like a balanced argument, a balanced conversation. And that's what this channel is about. This is what, at the heart of this channel, this is what the soul of the channel has always been about. When I started this channel 3 years ago, was to have that we could have balanced arguments, balanced discussions, balanced debates, but everyone respect each other. And we do that here. Nobody goes on massive rants. Nobody attacks each other in this chat. And it's the way it should be. We've got Simply A saying over the last 24 years, ENIC ownership has been a big headache. Can you just carry on for 2 minutes, Tequila? Sorry, just got them off for a minute.
1 sec. Hot God 10 saying, Dermot, you control. Okay, you already covered that one. Sorry. Carl Simpson, Daniel will not back a manager properly until he gets his desired manager back, and that is Poch. Poch, I've phrased it before, Carl, that Poch is the most ENIC resistant manager there is. In other words, that he can work within that system better than anyone else, and he managed to resist the leaviness and the ENIC stuff. You know, it's like Frodo having the ring of in the Hobbit films, the Lord of the Ring films.
Yeah.
It's like Poch was Frodo, so he could resist it longer than others. In the end, though, it got him, though, just like he did in the film. Simply Ace is saying, we have had chances over the last 24 years, and we have never taken our chances. We can't be surprised. You're right, 100%. We have had a couple of chances, and as I said yesterday to Dermo during our little preview, Daniel Levy himself, because he fired Mourinho 5 days before, literally reduced our chances of a trophy. He literally reduced our chances. He couldn't wait 5 days because of that. And the reason he couldn't wait 5 days is because of the financial. So he chose money over. So he chose money and decreased our chances of a trophy. It was far from guaranteed we were going to beat City, right? But we had more of a chance with Jose Mourinho than we did with Ryan Bloody Mason, and no one's going to convince me otherwise than that.
Well, look, okay. Well, look, I'm with Carl. I'm always going to remain optimistic.
Carl is laughing though, so I don't know how true he really is. Carl's rocking back and forth right now in his chair, by pulling his hair out. That's what Carl's doing right now.
Oh, hang on! I may have some good news. I'm going to ask, can I use it? Because if it is, this changes everything.
Carl Simpson saying, at least we haven't sold Richie as well. I wish we would have. Boris, I can't explain it kind of how they have managed to do it, but it would be just rumors, so I don't get into legal issues for slander. I'm not sure what you mean, Boris, mate. Sorry.
Look, the buck always does stop with Levy.
Yes, it does.
But can I just say the good things he's done? Can I balance this out? The good things he's done.
Okay.
Right. We've rarely had to go with him for the worst things he's done. For the balance of the argument, can I now balance the good things he's done? Is that all right?
You can try, yeah.
Okay. Right. Well, firstly, I have a little bit of breaking news. It's not confirmed, but this is happening. So where's my breaking news thing?
Dermo loves playing with his toys.
I've lost my breaking. This is breaking news, everybody. It was that good. I'm going to play it again.
That little kid in the candy store, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Right. This is a little bit of breaking news, guys. Now, this is not set in stone, but this is the approach they are looking at. A potential takeover bid seems to be for the ENIC shares of the club. So they're going to go. They want whoever's going to take this Stavely or the former Newcastle owner, with her and her consortium from a Middle East, want to take the Manchester United approach. So stay by the football side of the club and put football people in charge of the football side and leave Daniel Levy to look after the business side. This is not set in stone. This is not confirmed. But this is what it looks like. This is maybe the approach they are looking at. Now, if that is the case, I would dance in the middle of the street if that is the case. Because Daniel Levy, business side, you cannot fault the man. We're financially secured for the first time in our history. We've got one of the best stadiums in the world. We've got one of the best training facilities in the world. We've got one. Okay, the transfer links can be a lot better, but you're never going to change the transfer links. Tottenham Stadium is where Tottenham Stadium is.
Mm.
He's done a lot of good for the club. He has financially secured us, Tequila. As I said, I was a fan when we nearly went out of business, when we nearly went to the wall, when Tottenham Hotspur did not nearly exist. So I'm seeing it from that point of view. You're seeing it from a point of view where you've only known his ENIC. I haven't. I've known the Richards and the Richards family, then Scholars years in charge of Tottenham, the Alan Sugar years, and then the ENIC years. So this is all my fourth ownership of the club in 43 years of supporting Tottenham Hotspur, where you sort of remember the late Sugar years, but you remember more the ENIC years. So
yeah,
and I've sent you documentaries on the Scholar years and us, the Do you know the problems we got ourselves in?
Yeah, I've watched some of them.
Yeah. So, would you be happy if now the Stevie bid is looking 650 million to buy investment into the club? Would you be happy with that? Would you be happy with the Manchester United approach, where somebody buys the football side and runs the football side, and let Daniel Levy run the business side?
I do believe a couple of shows ago we did kind of go over this with Com, because Com was obviously as a Man United fan, and he said that under these Jim Ratcliffe is that the Glazers still have the final say on the transfers.
Yeah.
So if that's the same, then no. But if Levy didn't have the final say on the transfers, then yes. That's the best way I can put it. But I don't disagree with Levy. Levy has what I'll give Darren credit for is the making us financially stable, and he has increased the profile of the club.
Yeah, yeah.
So because then this is the facts. During my tenure, I have seen us go from a club which finished, I'm going to say, between 10th and 12th, probably.
Yeah.
During the first couple of years.
Yeah.
Yes, we did win the League Cup, but our league position was mid-table.
Terrible.
To be in consistently in the top 6. Now, not consistently in the top 4, but consistently in the top 6, and more often than not, being in Europe. So he has raised the profile of the club, and there's no getting around that. But it's like an engine that's stalled. He's taken us to, just outside the promised land. The promised land is in there, and we're stuck at the doors with the bouncer. And Levy is not prepared to spend the money required to get us in, and I think that he's shown that. So then you have to make a decision: do you stay where we are, where more often than not that we get European football, and we'll have some good results during the year, we'll have some bad results during the year, we'll continue to go through managers every other year. We'll sign a couple of good players, but the majority will eventually be sold to Real Madrid, where so many of them end up. Romero's the next one next year. Probably.
Well, you can't blame players for that. You can't blame players.
I'm not. But what I'm saying is this is the status quo we're going to find ourselves in. If people are okay with that, and I'm not slagging anyone off, but if that's where you want to be, then that's fine. But if you want to get to the promised land, you're not doing it under this ownership.
Yeah, but there's nothing we can do. We can't do nothing.
You're right. There isn't. You're right. You're right.
And we can complain all we want to we're blue in the face. Somebody has to stump up 3, 4, 5 billion to make it. Simon Jordan said it. Somebody's got to come in and make him turn his head and say, right, okay, I'll take that. He's also gone on record to say he's got 30,000 shareholders because Tottenham is a public. I think Tottenham are a public limited company now again. They were private, now they're back to a public limited company. He's got a board to look after. He's got his own interests to look after. He's got Joe Lewis's shares to look after. Look, if we're going to go down the Manchester United route, and that means Daniel Levy's just in the business side, and we get football people in to do football things, I'm happy. Because at least then it's football people making football decisions. At the moment, we've got business people making football decisions that are not making very good decisions. But you are right. There is praise to Levy to be held. We were probably one of the few clubs to come out of the pandemic, probably healthier financially. We're also, with the loan on the club, with the debt on the club, it's the most affordable. It's probably one of the best debts you could have at a football club at a very low rate, paying the loan back. Also, so you got to balance it out. You can't slander him off for everything. Where the argument that the good points do have to balance out the bad points, and maybe the bad points balance out the good points a bit more. But there is good points there. He's not all bad. He's not a Glazer. Can you imagine if we had the Glazers in charge of Tottenham?
Dermo. As I said earlier, nothing's black and white. Of course, he's not all bad. And this isn't me. I make little jokes about Levy, but I don't think he's the devil incarnate or anything like that. I don't even particularly call him a parasite. What I do is I call him a businessman. And most millionaires who are businessmen, normally they don't do things. They're not the nicest of people because you've got to be ruthless to get that far in business. Unfortunately, that's the way that it is.
the Night of the Republic. I love that sort of Star Warsy.
It's based. I think there was a video game called Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah, there was. Yeah. Do you want to tell people what they can do, Tequila? I leave you to this, but you're in charge of you're the Daniel Levy of the channel. So
God,
Daniel Levius.
God, Levius. Yeah. So, guys, in case you didn't know, I might be repeating myself for some of you, but I know that there's been some people come in the chat. We have managed to get our monetization back. So normally this would be the point where we'd plug Patreon, but that's not required anymore. So we are back on YouTube. So if any of you guys would love to give us a couple of bucks as a membership or throw in a super chat, if there's something you want us to talk about whilst me and Dimo are on the subject, it hasn't got to be about Levy. If there's something that you guys want significantly for us to talk about, if you put it in a super chat, we will shut up about my mate Danny and talk about it. That's the point. But yes, we have memberships back, so please join if you guys have good for us a couple of bucks. That'd be great, because we've got families to feed.
Yeah, be like Stephen Cartwright. Look, Stephen Cartwright's a member. Big up Stephen.
Big up Stephen, mate.
He got his memberships back. Big up Stephen. He never quit on us. He stood by us. He did stand by us. He stood by us to the end. He was on the Pittock line with us. He was there with his sign. Give THFC back their money, make them monetized again. Big up Stephen. And then we'll go to that night probably. I feel though, Dermo, this is me. I do know my own name, Dermo. Yeah, I do know it's me. So I'm going crazy and I've lost the plot.
I told you, him and Carl, we're going to lock them in the room until transfer deadline day, and we're going to go in there, and they're both going to be absolutely bald like Levy because they've pulled all their hair out in their chairs.
I'm already starting to go bald.
I know, Dermo. It won't take too long but
anyway,
I don't know what else to do with you. What else are we going to do with you? We've got to throw you in a room and look after you until after transfer day.
Don't worry, tomorrow night we've got the Europa League to talk about.
Oh yeah, that's going to be.
I've got to put that together yet. Night of Republic. I just feel though, Domo, that Levy's all about profits and advert money. Look at the 2019 summer transfer window, reaching the Champions League final was huge, and the club never backed Poch. Which brings me on to a good point, which I did put a lot of work into for you. Go on then,
let's bring them up. Yeah.
We'll go through just the rest of these comments here, guys, because they are here. Hell no, it would look like Father Christmas had his head shaved. You're all wrong. You're all wrong. Daniel Levy is the unseen brother to the Mitchells.
Peggy.
Lock Levy in his office, in his hotel plus let somewhere else manage the football side. United Republic. Dermo, I agree. Levy has his positives, but the business is only 50% of the job. That's the point. Mm-hmm. The real results are on the grass, and we lack ambition to match. Exactly. Our motto is to dare us to do. Where's that gone?
Well, that might be Spurs' motto, but I don't think it's Enix's motto, which is the problem.
I'm a massive, you know how massive I am for Spurs history, Tequila. And that's another rant I'm going to get onto too. As well.
I heard something, by the way. I don't know if I should say it or not, because I might upset you there, Mo. Should I say it? Okay. I heard this is on X, right?
I'm going to say something, Domo. No, I'm not going to say it. It might upset, but I'm going to say it anyway.
I am going to say it. I know I'm arguing with myself to say it. I am going to say it. On Twitch, apparently, they put up a big go-karting thing in front of the stadium, and where there should be statues, and somebody took a picture of it, and I think they put, "Where's our statues?" And that just says, that ENIC won't put statues out the front, but they'll put a big advert for their goddamn go-kart track. And when I saw that, I was just like, yeah, right.
Look, nobody's massive Formula fan than me.
But there should be a statue out there, shouldn't there be?
There should be. Yeah, don't get me started.
That's why I wasn't sure if I wanted to say it or not.
Yeah, well, I am going to get started on that in a minute. Believe that Tottenham, this is from Wilton. This is the man I look for. Him and Philip Brady is the men I look for guidance and experience and isn't it really? Tequila, these are the people we look for. These are the people that I've seen it all before. Nothing
beats experience.
I believe that Tottenham Hotspur will be huge again, football-wise, but it would take time. Wilton says, I've seen it. I've seen all the years. I would say this. I would say Sorry, you read this out with your tequila. Sorry, my teeth.
He's just saying I've seen all the years, and I would say be careful what you wish for. Yeah, the grass isn't always greener, but sometimes it is greener. So,
oh, you're so safe for now. Then, she says she is asleep, Boris. Carl Simpson, calm down, Carl. We ain't wanting to get hit over the head by the missus seeing these messages. Oh, Amanda, I'm ready for you to tell. Oh, that's what that was about then.
Carl's going to get himself in trouble because his missus is going to say, "Who's this Amanda chick you're talking about?"
That they would be going for Joe Lewis's shed. Yeah, there would be. Carl is saying there has been no breaking news for that long term. He's lost the button. Right. So managers, very quickly. Of course, it all started under the tenure of Glenn Hoddle, the legend that is Mr. Hoddle, runner-up in the League Cup in 2002, sacked in 2003. Now, one thing I want to notice, as we go through the years with the Levy managers, and we won't be spending long on this, guys, it's the transfers.
There's a lot of them to go through.
Yeah. But Glenn Hoddle, each one, I want you to rate them, Tequila. Glenn Hoddle, out of 10.
As a manager, I'd probably give him a 5. He was brought in, wasn't he, by Levy to appease the fans because he was because obviously that we didn't want Graham because of his Arsenal connection, even though he won us a League Cup. That's the truth.
Yeah, that is the truth. Santini only lasted 13 games.
This is the dirt worst. I understand why the idea was he was a big name at the time, but if you heard Martin Yole talk about him as well, Martin Yole's so funny. He says that after I spent a day with Jackson Sini, I knew that I'd be manager very quickly. And it turned out to be exactly right. It's got to be the dirt worst, dude. He's other than maybe Nuno, I'll give him a 2 because Nuno's probably the number 1.
Carl is saying Dermo is in the F1 picture on the front. Please, can someone superimpose Dermo?
Yeah.
God, I would laugh if someone did do that. You can imagine now you can imagine Columns in the background, right?
Columns already halfway made it, probably, mate.
Yeah, probably is. So Jack Santini, I'm going to give them a 2.
Yeah.
Now Martin Yole, look, we all love Martin Yole. There was a song, wasn't there? Yeah. We love Martin Yole.
Martin Yole's got no hair, but we don't care. Martin Yole, Martin Yole.
No, do you remember I Love Rock and Roll? That song by Susie Quattro.
Yeah.
You can tell David, we got super chats back again. By the way, David's been asking. We're monetized again, David.
Yeah, David, mate. We finally did get them back. It took 4 months, but
it took 4 months, but we've done it, David. We're back.
We can finally do the YouTube thing again.
Yeah. Martin Yole, if you look at the transfer, we did back him. To be fair, Tequila. 61 million was spent, 36 million, 47 million. So we did back Martin Yole. He was sacked in. But
I mean, he was brought in as assistant manager by Frank Arneson, and I do wonder because Martin Yole had been a manager. Was it FC20? I might be wrong in that. So he had been a manager, but then he'd gone from being his own manager to being an assistant manager, which normally doesn't. It's not normally how stuff goes down, is it? You don't normally go from being an assistant manager to a manager. Sorry, from a manager to an assistant manager. So I reckon Arneson and Joel, who I think probably were quite friendly, were probably like, yeah, he ain't going to last a month anyway. So
I know who this fella is. He's a fella Gora. I know him. I've known him for a long time. This fella working in my local retail stores, always a friendly person and Spurs mad for sure. Big up, sir. Hope you're doing well.
Big up also well. David Shire, mate. New member. Thank you, my friend.
Let me see what member he's become. He's become a bronze member. Big up to David Shear. Big up. Thank you so much, David. It means a hell of a lot.
We do.
It really
do
appreciate
it. We
really do.
We've not had any financial backing other than Boris, bless him, for 5 months. So it feels good to actually get some membership back. Cheers, mate.
Thank you so much, David. And big up. David says, Carl. Yeah, well, go on. You asked him to do it. Now you back. Go on. you show where you put your money where your mouth is, Mr. Simpson.
Yeah, Carl, where's your Carl?
Yeah, asking poor
well.
old David to put the first super chat in. Go on, you put your money where your mouth is, sir. Look, David, we appreciate you, man, and we're getting you on the first fan show after the Newcastle game on Sunday. So do around you.
Yeah,
now
mate.
Guaranteed yourself that now.
And Stephen as well, who's a member.
Yeah, and Stephen as well. Yeah. So Martin Yole, but there's a bit more to the Martin Yole story.
Yes.
Because
I've
got it written here. But do you want to read this out then, Tequila? Go on.
Let me bring it up a little bit bigger. My eyesight's rubbish. Because of the large amount of money that had been spent, Spurs were expected by the board to challenge for a top 4 place in the 27-08 season. After Tottenham lost their opening 2 games, however, club secretary John Alexander and director, Paul Kelmsley,
yeah,
I remember him, were photographed in a Spanish hotel with Sevilla manager Juan de Ramos. Oh, I remember that. Who then claimed that Tottenham made him a dizzying offer to become their manager. Though this was denied by Spurs chairman Daniel Levy, of course it was. This undermined Joel's position, and he was eventually sacked by the Tottenham board on the 25th of October 2007 during their 2-1 defeat to Getafe in the UEFA Cup. News of the sacking was widely known around the ground before the final whistle, before even Joel had become aware of his fate. And it says here, Joel confessed that he first became aware of the decision when his nephew told him of a text message he received saying Joel was to leave his job. That's disgraceful.
It is. In every shape or form, that is disgraceful.
And that was the moment when I became Levy out. At that minute, before that, I was in the middle, kind of thing. But once I saw the treatment of he's still my favourite Spurs manager. Maybe not the best, but my favourite. I have held a grudge against Levy ever since, and I make no bones, and I don't apologise for it. And that's why I'll probably always be Levy out. Levy would have to do an awful lot for me to forgive him for how he treated Martin Yole, and that's the truth.
Yeah. I mean, Martin Yole, for me, look, he was a great manager. He was a fans manager.
He was.
And I remember watching that on the TV and hearing his name, We Love Martin Yole.
Yeah.
And we all knew it. He didn't know. Us fans knew.
Yeah.
The TV commentator knew what was happening.
Yeah, everybody knew more or less, other than probably him and his staff. So, but it's that word again, respect, Dermo. Where was the respect for Martin Yole?
Yeah. Then Yonde Ramos did come in.
Won us a trophy. There we are.
Won us a trophy, but look how he was backed again: 61 million, 143 million, and then 94 million. So he was backed. Again,
and you've got to remember, obviously, this is quite a while ago, and you also need to take into account that our stadium was much smaller then, so that does need to be taken into account as well. We were not generating anywhere near the revenue that we are nowadays.
No. So look, we're making a loss every season: 55 million loss, 22 million loss, 71 million loss. So, but he didn't stay very long, and then next came in Harry Redknapp. Again, Harry was back, 94 million, 26 million, 143 million. And then, of course, wasn't really backed at all in 2011, 2012.
I've also got to throw this in, Dermo. We're being fair to everything.
Yeah.
This was the first time, I think, a lot of fans, because we were doing really well that season. Do you remember? And Redknapp wanted those 2 players because he thought we had an outside chance of actually going for the title. Levy did not agree with him and did not give him the players he wanted. Should he have? I think he should have. I think he should have. I think we had a chance to push it forward. And this is going to become a returning theme about these opportunities that we don't seem to take to push things forward. So Levy did not back Harry Redknapp in the January transfer window. And I can't remember the 2 players he wanted. I can't remember. It's a long time ago. But we ended up getting Ryan Nelson, I think, and I can't remember who the striker was we got. It was a long time ago. Carl, I don't know if you remember this, mate. But the 2 players Harry Redknapp wanted, and we didn't get them. We got some cast-offs, and we didn't finish strong like we should have. So that was the first opportunity where Levy did not back the manager when we could have achieved more, and that would be a recurring theme. So Saha, was it? Saha and Nelson. Okay, yeah. He wanted Nelson then, did he? Or was that who he got? No, he wanted the lad from Everton, didn't he? The defender from Everton. I can't remember the dude's name. He wanted the defender from Everton, who was hot shit at the time in the January transfer window. That's it. Yep, that's it. Hesper, that's right, mate. Yep. So that was the first time I noticed it, where it's just like, oh, let's push the boat out, let's take a risk here. And Levy is so risk assertive, too much so in my opinion, that he just wasn't prepared to take a gamble, so to speak, because he's a complete opposite of somebody who takes a gamble. He's a complete opposite, and that he's risk evasive. Is Daniel Levy 100%? And you could say that because he's risk evasive. I'm not sure where Dermo's gone. Dermo's gone into the ether. But you can say that Levy's so risk evasive that he's a steady Eddie kind of thing, where he'll always kind of keep us afloat, but will never take a chance. He'll never take a chance. That's what I think. Demo has vanished. I can control the PDF, so I will move on. Oh, we've moved on to Villas-Boas. So Villas-Boas, he was quite hot shit at the time, if people remember. He was kind of meant to be the new Jose Mourinho. And it didn't really work out that way. He didn't last that long with us, if you look. He's lasted about a year or so. And apparently he fell out with a number of the players, if memory serves. I'm trying to remember, like I say, this is a while ago. But Villas-Boas was another kind of... Sorry. Villas-Boas was another guy from Chelsea, of course. So we've got the history of these managers coming from Chelsea. So I'm not sure what you guys thought of Villas-Boas, but he was highly rated at the time. Next slide, Tim Sherwood. Now, the funny thing about Tim Sherwood, and I think it still remains to this day, is that I think he might have the highest win percentage of any Spurs manager. I don't know if that's still the case, but I remember reading something about it, even though he only was in charge for not long. But I think he actually ended up having the highest win record, which is crazy. And of course, especially if you ask him, he saved Harry Kane's career and found Harry Kane, and is the reason Harry Kane became Spurs legend. Again, if you ask him. There is some truth to it. In case anyone didn't know, apparently Levy was about to sell him, and Sherwood told Levy not to and let him play him. And we know the rest. So I suppose we do have Tim Sherwood to thank for Harry Kane to a certain degree, but maybe not as much credit as Sherwood tries to take for it.
Yeah.
You back now, Dermo? I've moved on from...
Yeah, you can, but back in a minute. Yeah, just give us 2 minutes. Just carry on.
Do you want me to go to the next slide? Or do you want me to
you can do, yeah.
No, right. Oh, God. Okay, I actually will wait for Dermo on this one because this is Pochettino, so there's a lot to go over with this. Let me check the chat to see what you guys have been saying, and we'll wait for Dermo to come back for Pochettino. Because Dermo's going to call him a loser. Bless him.
He is a loser.
See? Thank God Philip's not on. Cause anything big up, David? Yep. Thanks again, David, mate. We do appreciate it.
Yeah.
A bit tight, boys. No, mate, it's fine. It's everyone's a bit tight. You know what I mean? It's fine, mate. We appreciate anything you give. Carl Simpson, my wife has got my money and balls in advice. That's what I get for not future proofing it, Demo. I should have read that before I read it out loud. Carl, we've just got monetized, mate. David, all good. I'm joking. David saying Carl is still paying for that Gucci backpack his wife bought his daughter. Yeah, that's a little ongoing joke. Carl's saying, David, hell no, still staying strong. Yeah, you go, girl.
Look, on Pochettino.
Okay.
On Pochettino, look, we did back him. Look, if you look at there, we have backed him. He was backed quite a lot, 71 million, 83 million, 48 million, 121 million. Apart from the year where we didn't buy anyone for 3 windows. And then in the season that he was sacked, we did back him again. But Football League runner-up, you were Champions League runner-up, third in the league, second in the league. So for a kick here or a kick there, we could have won the Football League Cup, we could have won the Champions League, and we could have won the league twice. So if you look at it that way, and he wasn't backed, and of course Pochettino was sacked by Tottenham Hotspur with the side 14th in the Premier League standings. Should we have stuck by him? I think we should have done. I think we were too eager to get rid of him.
We should have probably stuck with him. The only time, like I said yesterday, Dermo, the only time where I think you should sack a manager, especially when he's been quite successful, is if there is a fear of relegation. I do understand that. And maybe 14th, I mean, I'd have to see how many points we were above the drop zone, I suppose. I can't remember off the top of my head. But there must have been a fear of it. I'm assuming there must have been a fear of it. Also, take into account that Levy always wanted Mourinho. I don't think people realise.
No, he did. He was after him for years.
He was. And it makes you wonder, doesn't it, Dermo? If Mourinho wouldn't have been available, would have Posh been sacked? I'm not sure he would have.
I don't think he would have done. The Knight says, I agree, other than the away results on the pitch were horrific. They were horrific. I mean, we lost 7-2 at home to Bayern Munich. We didn't have a great start to that season, and it was a hangover from the season before, where we went to the Champions League final, where we were building a new stadium, and we were told at the time that the transfer budget was ring-fenced, that there was money there for players. Now, it proves the money wasn't there to buy players, because you look at the expenditure, you look at the players, money there to buy in was zero. We got an income of 5.35 million, so we made a 5 million profit. Yippee. But every other season on the potch, we made an overall balance loss.
You've got to remember that also.
Apart from the first season.
You've got to remember that what Pochettino also did, and I think maybe this is realistic to add to the whole thing, is that he was the manager under during our stadium move, right? So during those when we had to play. So I think that has probably affected how much money we had as well. And that probably, if you ask Levy anyway, will be the reason why we did not spend for like free transfer windows, because we were too busy investing in the stadium. And I think Pochettino's got to be given credit for keeping us competitive during that period. I agree he didn't win anything, but keeping us competitive in the races, all right? For that period where there was so much lack of stability in the club during the whole stadium move. And everything like that. We should have won the league in 2015-16. We should have beaten Leicester in the league. Well, that was obviously our best chance. Yeah, that was our best chance. It's the way we've run us up Chelsea. Look, maybe we should have done, maybe we shouldn't have done. But if you do look at it, he did have a good record. We had the best. We were under the best run since Bill Nick. And calling them a loser is a bit harsh. In a technical standpoint, you're right, because a loser is somebody who doesn't win anything. But I think if you compare him to all the managers we've just gone through, maybe other than Redknapp, I think Redknapp's the only competition for him. And I love Martin Jol, but Martin Jol did not have the results that Redknapp did. No, that's the way it is. No. I think other than maybe Redknapp, he's kind of in a little bit of a class by himself. When you think about the modern age, him and Redknapp, the two that stand out for me. In the modern age, Dermo. I just want to quickly go through these last couple of managers. We had Jose Mourinho come in, sacked 5 days before a cup final. I will never understand why that was, but crazy move. But again, he was backed 110 million. He was backed, but as you said earlier, he wanted Kim Jae, and he got the lad Jack from Clark. He got the lad from Cardiff, didn't he? The guy we just sold, the big guy. Jack Clark. Yeah. Then, of course, Rodin. That's who I'm thinking about. Rodin. No, was it Rodin? Yeah, he wanted thingy, and we gave him Rodin from Cardiff, I think, wasn't it? Or Swansea. Yeah. Then we went for Nuno, the Garden Gnome, as I always call him. Always will call him the Garden Gnome. Even he was back 95.9 million. Then we had Antonio Conte
For the love of God, I have never been to a more boring match than I went to AC Milan in that Champions League quarter-final. It was, it was just. I walked out of that stadium. Me and Philip Brady both walked out of that stadium.
Were you bored to tears, Dermo? Did you regret buying a ticket?
We walked out of that stadium disillusioned with Spurs. That's how bad we were disillusioned.
Is that the match we played Skip and Sarr in midfield?
Yeah. No, that was the first game. No, we played Højbjerg in the second game.
Okay.
And I went over for 4 days. I did a 4-day channel trip for that. And of course, that is on the channel, guys. If you want to go back and look at that. We did a big thing. But Lord Jesus, it was horrendous. But look, Conte was just there for himself. Conte was just there for Conte.
He needed the money. Apparently, he was back. Yeah. He fell into hard times. He was conned or something out of his money. Yeah, I can't remember. So yeah, he was in it for the money. I liked his personality. I didn't like his football. That's how I can describe it.
Yeah. And then, of course, we end up with Ange Postecoglou. He's been backed last 23-24. 272 euro was spent. 0.10 million euro was spent on players. So far this year, we've spent 148, nearly 150 million on players, plus with a window a few days to come. Now, some of these transfer windows, guys, and some of the managers was when we changed managers halfway through. But they're still the whole.
And also, Dermo, like I said earlier, you got to remember is that some of these will be increased now because obviously we are now in a much bigger state. You know, we did go from 35,000 to 55,000. Yeah.
So look, we still made a loss of 151 million over our balance last season. Yeah. Already this season, we're at nearly 100 million loss. So there's a lot. I think Ange will take us to the promised land. Ange will get us there. We've just got to be patient. But we do have to be patient.
It depends what you. It depends what you mean by define the promised land to me, Damo.
Winning a trophy.
Or any trophy.
Yeah, it's like Moses going up the hill and coming down with anything in his hand. I will follow that man anywhere.
Okay, so I don't see us winning the league, but a trophy should.
Why not?
Because there's too many obstacles.
Why is there too many obstacles? What's in our way?
I can think of Man City and Arsenal.
Man City are going to get thrown out of the league. So
well, let's. If that happens, then ask me again, Dermo.
I'm going to end this stream in a delusional mood. I started it in a bad mood.
I know. We have to let him go back to. We have to let his final form come back.
We've got the nice Dermo and James, which is right. Dermot is my adopted name. Is my
Dermo and James.
James is my adopted name. I was adopted as a child, but when I moved back to Ireland, my mother called me Dermot. I went back to my birth name, which is Dermot. So I am James, and my adopted name is James. That is my adopted legal name. But
you're the real Tottenham stick, Dermo, not me.
But my adopted name is my birth name is Dermot. I prefer Dermot anyway, so I don't.
We just call you Dermo, don't we?
I prefer Dermot anyway. I do not like my adopted name. I prefer my birth name, so that's the reason I run with it. If I could magically make you two of the head of football operations at Spurs, where would you lads look to strengthen and improve? Me personally. I redevelop our scouts network. Right. So I think he means you, Tequila. Maybe he called you James. You're Tequila anyway.
Yeah. I'm not James, sorry, but that's cool.
For this, we'll call you James.
You can call me James if you want. I've been called worse.
Right. I would redevelop our I think I agree with you, our scouting network. And our we've got a great youth academy. Our scouting network. That's what I would redevelop. I agree with you on that. Knights of the Republic. You, something?
I think our academy, we're showing signs of having a couple, but coming through. But I think at the grassroots levels for us, we really need to be creating a little bit like Liverpool seem to always have a really good conveyor belt of young youth players, specifically under this ownership. I know you've asked what I would do, but that is where you're going to get the most bang for your buck. But the thing is, with stuff like that can take 10, 15 years. And also another thing I do is a little bit like the Ajax model, if you guys know that, what I mean by that, where up and down the whole hierarchy of the club, they're all taught to play a certain way. So it's a 4-3-3 over in Holland. I'd like to see Spurs do that, come up with their own way of playing, so that all the players learn to play that style of football, pass and move, stuff like that, what Spurs are known for. So really get start at the ground level, the grassroots, get the whole club to play that certain way.
Yeah, he said sorry, tequila. He meant.
Oh, no worries, mate. It's fine.
Yeah, but just to let you know, I was just letting you all know. Mourinho was shafted by Levy. He was. Oh, Nuno, the man had as much charisma as a player. He was the garden gnome. He was
a statue, wasn't he? Yeah,
he was. Yeah. I see him a lot in garden centres. You know.
Is he still making you proud? Because he told me he was going to make me proud.
Yeah, I went to one pub before a game and he was sitting in the back of a pub. Just sitting there. Does what he normally did. I understand Tottenham were close to signing Dortmund centre-back this week, but the 20-year-old has failed his medical. Unclear if TIC-TOC will pursue other defensive. Okay.
Carl, could he play left back as well? If so, that would be the perfect signing, wouldn't it?
Yeah. We could win the league on the club, like figure Spurs only. Yes, true. Targets are certainly no. We're just going through these very quickly. Carl says Dermatron or Sharon.
If you're calling him Sharon, that must be related to the Mitchells because they loved Sharon, didn't they?
I'm saying nothing on that. Nuno didn't make me proud, nor does 50 million. You're still not. On that bombshell,
it is nearly 11, Dermo. You can probably say it.
On that bombshell, I am going to leave it here. We've been on way longer than we should have been.
It ended up being 2 hours, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, it always is.
Me and Dermo, we just get chatting about anything, and this is what happens.
It's one of these shows where you don't see the time going. You don't see the time going. Yeah, that's it. Where can people find you, Sir Tequila?
Obviously, I'm on this great channel a couple of times a week. Tomorrow, we're on doing the Europa League. Okay, we're going to try to explain the Europa League to you. Boris is coming on, who I think's got a lot more knowledge than we do about it. So, Boris, you're going to have to teach us, mate. Then I won't be around Thursday, but Friday, transfer deadline day, isn't it?
Thursday I'm having off as well. Because Friday we're going to be busy. 12 o'clock, we're on with the draw for the Europa League. And then we're going to be on and off all day. And then from 7 o'clock to midnight, we are going to do transfer deadline day night, which is always a bit of fun, Tequila. You haven't done one before.
I haven't. It'd be my first. So, yeah, I expect quite a lot of laughs, actually.
Yeah, we are. We're going to cover the transfer deadlines, not just Tottenham, everywhere. We're going to get excited if we think a transfer is going to happen. Tequila's going to be sitting in his car with his head out the door.
I'm going to be talking about Nico Cranshaw, Herman Hreidsson, Crouchy.
Yeah. Carl's going to be, we're going to have Carl outside the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium interviewing fans. Philip Brady's going to be, I don't know what Philip Brady's going to be doing, to be
fair. The Godfather.
What we've got planned for him?
Just be chilling, probably, wouldn't he? He's just going to be chilling, isn't he?
He'd be chasing Levy around.
Yeah.
That's what he's going to be doing. And you and me will be running the show. I want to say thank you to David again, who become a new member, a bronze member. Thank you so much, David. It means a hell of a lot. Big up to the Knight of Republic as well. You've been so good. Great to see you in the chat, sir. Big up to Carl Simpson. Big up to Milton as well, who always comes in. Big up, Milton. Hope you're doing well, sir. Who else can we say thank you to? Big up to Hasper TV. Didn't get to say hello to you, so big up to you as well. Big up to PS Borough as well. That looks like Paul out of Hippie Paul, you know.
A little bit.
Yeah, with the beard, yeah. Big up to you guys. Well, listen, we are back tomorrow at 8 o'clock. We are going to talk everything about Europa League. We're going to try to explain how the new Europa League is going to work.
Wish us luck.
Yeah, me and Tequila are now going to university to get a degree in quantum physics because it's that complicated. And for old-gets like us, we need
no chance, mate.
No chance. This is why Boris is coming on, because he's younger than us, and this is why he knows. Hang on, I just want to do something. Hang on. It's my chair, by the way.
Didn't say a word. Might have thought of some things, but I didn't say a word.
I know you thought of one other thing. Anyway, thank you all for watching. It's been a great show. Look, you can have your say on Levy. You can have your debate on Levy, but always leave it respectful and always leave it respectful. And that is it. But what we've got coming up? Oh, yeah. Sorry, forgot to say. What we've got coming up for the Newcastle game, Tequila? We've got Tottenham Team Talk. We've got you and me predicted lineup. That's coming this week. We've got a new show for members. Me and Tequila's pre-match thoughts. So that's only going for members. So, David, you're getting that. And Stephen Cartwright. And a few members that are now being retained as members. You will get that. So that will go to you first. And then it will go out to non-members. Predicted lineup will go to members first and then non-members afterwards. And then, of course, you've got your member show after the Newcastle game. Post-match live. Come on, have your say.
Yeah, so David and Stephen, I want to see you both there, lads. Give us your thoughts.
Okay. God bless, lads. God bless you, United Republic. Whatever you do, enjoy yourself. Come on, you Spurs. In Big Andrew we trust. We never stop. And do you want to take us out, Tequila?
Yes, of course. Excuse me. Quiz. Lovely.
After you've coughed up a curveball.
Hairball, yeah.
Hairball. Just do it one more time for the crack.
Quiz.